got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome back to another episode of Trending Fantasy. I'm John Bauer. Find me on X at the Bauer Club. I'm joined by Mitch Sorensen at Dino MC. Mitch, of course, it is rookie draft season, and things are going in full gear. We have the early stages of, first wave of rookie drafts. From a tier perspective, and yes, I want to start with tiers because we spent a lot of time pre-NFL draft talking about this because you're always looking at jockey for position. How are you looking at it right now? And just overall, like in the first round, where do you see the tier break? Second round, where are you trying to trade out of, trade up, trade back, and kind of at what cost?
So a big thing is that's a lot. I mean, that's about everything.
It is a lot.
So in the first round, I still think there is the 102, the 101 tier, the 102, there's a tier. And like the 103 to the 107, 8, I really don't care what I have. Like, I don't find myself being at the 108 being like, hey, I really need to trade up to the 103 here. I haven't felt the need to do that once yet. The rest of the first is kind of lined out pretty good. I like the early second, but as soon as I get past that early second, dude, I have such a hard time right now wanting to trade into players. I mean, there's a couple that I'm going to call steals that we're going to talk about later, but for the most part, in a lot of rookie drafts, there's players I really like. Hey, I want this guy in the third. I want this guy in the fourth. Right now, there's kind of one guy that I like in the third or fourth, and I just really don't care that much about which of these running backs I'm getting. I'm just trying to get a surplus of all of these running backs.
See, that surprises me a little bit, your first comment there, talking about the third and fourth rounds, because I have found more often than not, I am pretty happy with what's dropping. And I hate to just keep saying it over and over again, but variance. There have been, I think I've taken part in 15 to 20 rookie drafts so far. A lot of them either wrapping up or they've already completed. Then next week, we have the big wave. So we wanted to get this episode out before that big wave hits this weekend and certainly on Monday as well. But, the third round, we'll get there in a minute. Yes. So I am right there with you. I have the 101. I have the 102. It doesn't matter the format, Superflex, tight end, premium. And then I have the 103 to 104 tier together. You and I had to make a decision in a co-managed league. And you left it to me, and I chose Tet McMillan at the 104, I think.
Yes.
And Travis Hunter was available. As soon as I made the pick, like, I'm not kidding. Like, I thought about it a lot, and I was like, I don't know if I can have them tier together at this point, really, just because of how much it weighed on me.
I get it. No, I completely understand that.
Because whenever you, like, it's easy to talk about your rankings and your tiers, but when push comes to shove and you actually have to hit draft, there's a lot more that goes into
there
it.
Is.
So then I have down to the 108. So 105 to 108, I have Tet McMillan, and then the three big running backs in that tier, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, RJ Harvey. One thing that I've been updating in the rookie tiers is not only where I have them, but kind of where the market is, because if you have multiple picks, and this I think is a little bit more prevalent in the second, third, and fourth round, but if you have multiple picks and you can maneuver around a little bit, or something you and I did, and I used this example in the Discord, we had two picks really close together later on. I said, Mitch, who do you want? You said Kyle Williams and Jack Besh. And I'm looking at their current ADPs. Besh right at 207, Kyle Williams right at 302. And I even said to you, I was like, let's go Besh. I have Kyle Williams ranked higher in the team, but because of that ADP discrepancy, I think we can get Kyle Williams a little bit later. And luckily we were able to snag both, because you have your values, you have your tiers, your rankings, whatever the case may be, but then playing the market, and it doesn't always work out. Sometimes you get a wild card. I mentioned variance. Sometimes you're going to get guys that are taking players a little bit earlier, and you're going to miss out from time to time. The big thing here, so you're not looking necessarily if you have 106, 107, 108, there hasn't been a case that you've tried to move up.
Nope.
Maybe with Cam Ward?
Nope. Not once.
No? Okay.
No. Yeah, because we're going to get into it. We have like a worst pick of each first round or of each round. Sorry. In the first, I can't find one. If I have to choose one, Colston Loveland is in the first round right now. He's going to be the one I pick. It's not because of anything against him. It's because I just like everybody else. And it's like, well, I could kind of talk against his landing spot or whatever reason, or Tyler Warren, whichever one of those two you want to choose. I would go against the tight end there. But I mean, I'm not going to hate on anybody. I've said this in the chat multiple times in the Discord. If you want Loveland or Warren at the 110, 111, by all means, pick them. Like, you're not going to get an argument from me one way or the other, really.
I've shifted things around, obviously, and the tight ends are the big one. I just don't see a world. Like, I think they're going to hold value very well.
Agreed.
Because we always talk about the insulated value. We talk about the excuses that people will have for them, and they both have built-in excuses, right? But if we're doing a 12-month outlook and where we believe these guys are going to be valued in 12 months, like, you look at the guys above them, Caleb Johnson, wide range of outcomes, Jackson Dart, wide range of outcomes, RJ Harvey, but like, that ceiling is there for all of them.
Yes.
Despite what a lot of people think about Jackson Dart, who's going 202, 203.
Oh, we'll get to Jackson Dart. You just wait for that.
He does have that wide range of outcomes. So to round out, this is the ADP here. So round one, this is Superflex tight end premium. I actually pulled this from the Dynasty Data Lab, and I use that because you can filter it over the last few days, and I wanted to see trends. I want to see the way things move. But then also, they have a really cool heat map on there, and it shows you how likely it is that you can get a player in a draft at a certain spot. So, the further along it goes, obviously they're going to be dropping to like the second round, third round, whatever. But it's a really cool resource, and it's just a really nice visual to be able to look at that. But it goes Ashton Genty, Amari Hampton, Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan, Cam Ward, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Caleb Johnson, Emeka Egbuka, and RJ Harvey. So when we look at that first round, hit me with your biggest steal of that round.
Like, anyone who's listened to me over the last week, been on X, it's RJ Harvey. And I know there's people that don't like him for specific things in his profile, and I completely understand that. For me, it's the situation he's walking into. Like, I know he wasn't the best pass blocking running back in college. I understand that. Believe it or not, in the NFL, if you look at the top tier pass blocking running backs, none of them are the good ones. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, not good. Like, there's something about that to where they don't grade out well. I can't tell you the reason why, but if you look, I promise you, scroll down the very bottom of PFF's, grades, you're going to see the really good pass catching running backs there. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're smaller and faster, but a big thing is how running backs are used matters so much. So you look at a guy like Caleb Johnson. How much passing work can I see him getting? Probably a fair amount, because they did pass a lot to the running backs last year. Maybe that was a quarterback thing. Maybe it's offensive coordinator thing. But in my mind, as soon as you see him, you see Amari and Hampton, it's, hey, they're going to be pretty run-heavy running backs with a sprinkling of pass catchers. RJ Harvey is – the Broncos use their running backs. We all know how Sean Payton does it. That ceiling is so high. If you look on ETR right now, the people love their underdog stuff. They go look at what ETR's rankings are. RJ Harvey is their 5th ranked rookie as far as underdog this year, how well they're going to produce. And that's not based off hype. That's just based off their projections and how they think it's going to go. It's because RJ Harvey's ceiling is higher than almost any other running back ceiling besides Ashton Genty. Like, if we're talking just pure ceiling this year, Harvey can achieve that. Will he? I don't know. But you're talking about a 112 running back that I think should be going closer to the 107 to the 108. So for me, it's a huge steal for that factor. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this ends up and, he ends up being the 6th best running back in this class. I still think that's going to be pretty darn good.
We always talk about the pre-draft bias. Not a lot of folks were thinking RJ Harvey was going to get day 2 draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people were thinking he was going to get 2nd round draft capital and a premier landing spot. What would have happened value-wise if Caleb Johnson went in the 2nd to the Broncos?
Exactly. Yep.
What would have happened if we got a Bayshall 2 in? If we got because there was hype around Bayshall 2 in pre-draft.
Well, here's the thing. So let's say Amarian Hampton went where he went, Genty went where he went, but Henderson was the back that went to the Broncos. Henderson would be the running back 2. He just would be. Or worst case, he'd be running back 3 at the 103, and that would be the tier. There'd be a 101, a 102, and a 103 tier. But that's not what happened. And so, we kind of have to adjust based. The market's what the market is. So no matter what, if people like him, hate him, whatever, I will play within that market. I'll just take advantage of it.
Quinshon Judkins, another name.
Yes.
And do you like how we're going through Caleb Johnson, Amarian Hampton, Quinshon, Travion, and I bring up Bayshall Tuitt in there? I gotta get Scoot and Tuitt in there.
You got to.
I gotta get Scoot and Tuitt in there, my man. All right, I think you're gonna upset me because I think you may have alluded to it here before. What do you think right now is the worst pick in the 1st round?
It's going to be one of the tight ends, whether it's Warren or Loveland. That's it for me. And I'm not saying they're bad. That's what I was saying earlier is they're fine. But I love every other 1st round player this year. There's not one that I really hate. But the tight ends, they're the ones to where they're probably not giving you an advantage weekly. You're drafting them because they're young and they're tight ends, and that's a hard position to fill right now. But I would feel just as confident walking into the league with David Njoku is worth a lot less than these guys.
Yep.
If I could walk in the league with David Njoku, I would like that more than walking into this year with either of those 2 tight ends.
When you look at all the positions, I think tight end and then closely followed by quarterback are the most critical ones to be able to look at your league dynamic and think, okay, how difficult is it to acquire tight ends? Those are the 2 position groups I could see being elevated a little bit compared to where I may have them tiered. Yep. Like I said, Tyler Warren, he's going 108, Colston Loveland 109. I have them 111 and 112, even in 2 PPR formats, so +1 tight end premium. I just don't see a world, again, and I don't want to spend too much time on them, but the range of outcomes, I think, from a value perspective is just so narrow. Whereas you look at these other options, and if you're looking for the safer route, if you're looking for more insulation, maybe you're not a contending team, and that's just something you're looking at. We'll talk about that when we look at Emeka Egbuka, when we look at a Luther Burden. Their value probably isn't going to change all that much unless an opportunity really presents itself. So they're kind of like low risk investments right now. I just don't know how much they're going to go up. So you said biggest steal right now at the price, RJ Harvey at the 112, and then the biggest reach right now, Tyler Warren and or Colston Loveland at that 108, 109. Is Cam Ward being disrespected? This isn't in the show notes, but is he being disrespected a little bit?
So I will say on this ADP, yes, but there have been a lot of leagues I've seen him go at 102. So I think maybe based off this ADP, he could be. In the leagues that I'm seeing him, no. I've seen on X where people, oh, hey, I just got Cam Ward at 108.
Right.
I've never seen that happen in 20 leagues. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying in my leagues, doesn't happen that often.
Going to the 2nd round, again, 12-team Superflex tight end premium formats. Most of the time, it's a 0.5 premium. Matthew Golden, the 201. Jackson Dart, the 202. Luther Burden, 203. Cam Scadaboo, 204. Trey Harris, 205. Jaden Higgins, 206. Jack Besh, 207. He's been a riser. Mason Taylor, 208. Jalen Milroe, 209. Bayshall, 2 and 210. Shador Sanders still going in the 2nd at 211. And then Tyler Shuck to the Saints in the 2nd round going at 212. Tier breaks, Mitch.
Yep.
I want to start here because this is something I talked about pre-draft, where everybody sits here and says, oh, every year, get those second round picks. There's going to be so much value. It's such a deep class.
Yep.
Well, then when push comes to shove, there's always going to be, because of draft capital and or landing spots, things get pushed up the board a little bit to where that tier break is going to be. I have a pretty strong break at 203. And in the Discord, somebody had asked, hey, group, team, how are we feeling about Trey Harris? I like I like Trey Harris a lot. I like him so much I get his name right. But I don't have a lot of him at this point because of the way I've maneuvered around and talking about where we're looking to trade up or trade out or trade back. I've tried to trade up out of the 204 to 212 range. Obviously a little bit easier if you're in that higher range at the 204, 205, 206, as opposed to the later ones. But that's where I am from a tier perspective. I have 201 to 203, 204 to 206, and then 207 all the way down to 212.
All the way to 412.
All the way through 412. So does that line up with you for the most part? Is there
extremely close? Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's all there. I kind of had a thing with Trey Harris the same way, to where I want to have more rostership of him, but I'm having a hard time. So there's actually a league today to where I had the 203, and there was Scatabo was still on there, Burden was still on there, and I think Golden was. But I picked Trey Harris just because I don't have any of them yet. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take him here. It's not what I normally do, but I want to make sure I have some rostership of these guys.
So you would say, I know you're very anti-portfolio approach, but that kind of is what that is. You wanted to mix it up a little bit because you have the number of leagues. So I just want to say we're not all.
Well, let's not say that out loud.
Okay. All right. Biggest reach. So we talked about the tiers within the second round. What's the biggest reach for you?
Jalen Milroe. I understand why people want this third round quarterback, but I will tell you, I'm just going to allude to it. My steal's going to be Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart,
100%.
According to this, is going 6 picks. A first round quarterback is going 6 picks ahead of a third round quarterback. This third round quarterback is only going there because we know he can run. We don't know if he could even play quarterback in the NFL and if he's going to be good enough to even start. There's a chance.
Or if he even gets the opportunity. And I've been not quite an opponent of Sam Darnold, but I'm not a supporter by any means.
Yes.
But there is a world that Jalen Milroe doesn't get that opportunity.
And if he does, there's not a good guarantee that it's going to stay. I mean, I think the probably closest comparison might be like a Malik Willis situation. Yep. But Malik Willis with the Packers is playing for an amazing offensive coach with an amazing running game, to where he could throw 15 times a game and be okay. I don't know if you could say that same thing for Milroe. And so for me, he's just going to, I understand the upside there, to where if he hits, hey, there's a strong chance to where you're just burning that pick.
I am completely on board with Jackson Dart. We do it every year, guys. Every year I know he went late in the first round. This is not a Josh Allen situation where he went super early. It's not even a Daniel Jones situation where he went super early. But he's going to get the opportunity here, being taken in the first round with the Giants. He has an all-world running back now in Cam Scatabo. Obviously.
I like it.
And then he's going to be tied to Malik Neighbors, which you could be associated with far worse receiving options than Malik Neighbors. It's another thing. I think the pre-draft bias is creeping in. Shador Sanders is going in the second round still.
So
Jalen Milroe is going in the second round still. And I'm not even a Tyler Shuck guy, but they're both going ahead of a top 40 pick in Tyler Shuck, who he's going to get an opportunity. This is where the draft gets so fun, because for the most part in 12-team super flex formats with a tight end premium, the order will vary, But the top 12 picks, for the most part, they're pretty locked in. But once you get to the second round, it is the wild west. I've seen Bayshall Tootin go up to like 202, I think. Matthew Golden, somebody in the Discord just said they got him at 207. That's a first-round receiver. I don't care how bad the profile is. At 207, I'm certainly okay taking that. I want to stick to the ADP conversations for now, but there's guys that I have in the second round that aren't even showing up in the top 48.
Yeah.
That is how wild this is to me. I
was just going to say, when I was saying Cam Ward earlier, I haven't seen him drop, so this ADP is a little bit off to me. I have seen Jackson Dart go at the 208, 209. And I worked 12-hour shifts the last 2 days, and I didn't have time to sit there and like watch the draft the whole time. So there's times where I'm looking, hey, I'm on the clock. I'm like, I'm at the 210 and Jackson Dart was there 2 picks ago. Like, I wish I could have traded up to try to get Dart there, because once someone picks Dart, it's really hard to go and trade for him. I've tried that. People are like, no, I'm good holding him. And so I was going to ask you this because I wanted to try to research it today, but nothing could come to my mind. I ran through, has there been a first round quarterback who was selected like this 204, 205 area in rookie drafts that didn't rise in value before the upcoming season? I can't think of one that dropped in value at all. And I'm including Kenny Pickett in there. I'm including
the only one would be Jordan Love, I think.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
But he was going mid-second because, hey, Aaron Rodgers is there.
Yep.
So that was kind of the assumption. Kenny Pickett, he got a little boost going into a second.
There were times where people were trading first-round picks for him. I mean,
Daniel Jones was even elevated. Again,
I paid first-round picks for Daniel Jones. I did that.
You don't have to say it out loud.
That's fine. I was okay with it at the time.
But that's the thing here. So there is going to be an opportunity. And if you're able to get a Jackson Dart in the second round, I've taken him. I have him at the 109. Mm-hmm. And that's tier with Caleb Johnson, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland. Wider range of outcomes. And if it's +4 quarterback scoring, or if your league just doesn't value quarterbacks, I get it. I certainly get wanting to go another direction. Or if you have 2 stud quarterbacks and you have like a Geno or a Stafford as your third quarterback, I get passing on them. I've even tried to play that game like we talked about with Kyle Williams and Jack Besh earlier, where I had a pick, maybe a few picks later, and I thought, okay, maybe we'll see if Dart slips to me, and he didn't. So I played that game, and I lost there. Going to the third round, Jalen Knoll, Kyle Williams, Terrence Ferguson, Jaden Blue, Dylan Sampson, Elijah Arroyo, Devin Neal, Alec Iamaner, Harold Fannin, Will Howard, Jalen Royals, Ollie Gordon, DJ Giddens. Pick your poison here.
Yes.
But let's go with the biggest reach first before we even get into the tiers.
Jalen Royals. He's a guy to where I absolutely loved him, but you look at that situation, I don't see how it's possible he gets to 10 PPR points each week. I don't think he's going to I don't think there's a chance of him really getting there unless something happens to Rashee Rice and they have to put him in the lineup. I have such a heart. Everyone else, I could tell myself a story. Jalen Royals is the guy that I just can't.
Jalen Knoll for me. And again, it's funny because, I mean, honestly, and cover your ears, Mitch, but Jalen Knoll, Terrence Ferguson, Alec Iamaner, Harold Fannin, Jalen Royals, Will Howard, I even get to an extent. It's early for...
I've drafted a fair amount of Will Howard.
I like him in the 4th, and he's available in some spots. So if it goes into the season with Mason Rudolph as the starter, Aaron Rodgers does not head over to Pittsburgh. Will Howard's one of those late round quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Riley Leonard with the Indianapolis Colts. You can tell yourself that story. Obviously, we've talked about Shedeur Sanders. You have Dylan Gabriel, kind of the same situation. But Will Howard, it certainly could be a worse spot where you have, when we talked about Jalen Milroe, with Sam Darnold. Well, Will Howard with Mason Rudolph isn't necessarily all that different.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I have quite a few guys here, Jalen Noel. It's going to be really difficult. Like, I was very pro Jaden Higgins, and now they land on the same team.
Yep.
Terrence Ferguson, I just don't think he gets the work in year one, and it's just one of those tight ends you got to sit on. Alec Iamaner, loved Alec Iamaner. Drop into the 4th round. I mean, there were talks and there were thoughts that he could go in the 2nd, and he's one of those guys that drop it. Yeah, but JB, Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped to the 4th. Well, I hope I'm wrong, and Alec Iamaner turns out to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who's your favorite value pick here?
Speaking of Amon-Ra St. Brown, my guy is Kyle Williams, man. Like, I am, this is like one of the things to where I know a lot of league mates watch this. And so I really don't want to say Kyle Williams, because Kyle Williams is kind of that 3rd round guy I want to have a lot of rostership of. It's just looking at, I know they have Diggs, I know they have Pop Douglas, but like, I want to buy into this kind of profile to where, do I trust the quarterback? I trust Drake May. Do I trust the offensive coordinator? Yeah, I trust Josh McDaniels. He's, as a head coach, terrible. Offensive coordinator, one of the best in the league, has been for years and years and years. And so you're telling me, like, his biggest competition is Diggs, who knows how healthy he's going to be. Pop Douglas, Matt Collins is whatever. He is, I kind of don't want to do the whole, hey, there's so many targets there, he can do that. But you just look at his profile, and he profiles not really as a 3rd round guy. He profiles as a 2nd round wide receiver that fell to the 3rd. But I think he's going to such a good place that this is the guy in the 3rd round that I keep trying to get more and more rostership of.
Yeah, there's a lot of metrics and peripheral metrics coming out of college that really stands out. And somebody that as the process went on in March, early April, I started to look at a lot more. From a tier perspective and where I'm trading in, I honestly can say there aren't many spots that I'm trying to trade up, because but it's not because I don't like the guys, where I know you might not like them nearly as much as I do, but maybe that's just me being hopeful. But Woody Marks, I have him at the 210.
Dude. So you have a favorite upside play outside the 3rd round. The only one I have selected is Woody Marks. Like, I think Woody Marks, it's such a good spot for him. I love the guy. But yeah, I actually think by the end of this draft cycle, he will be my most rostered running back. Like, I'm just picking him up everywhere.
He gives you the receiving upside. He good enough speed. He gives you, fairly efficient given the situation, and rush attempt market share max. It's up there. Yes, he's older, but RJ Harvey's a little bit older too. Cam Scattaboo, a little bit older too. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast now with the way players are staying in school. But Woody Marks, there is a very real possibility he enters the season as the number 2 here.
Oh, yeah.
He gives you a little more burst than a Joe Mixon at this point in his career. He gives you the receiving upside. He doesn't necessarily need that injury to Mixon to be involved. And Joe Mixon, he gets dinged up. He's a running back. Of course he does. Woody Marks could really get a nice opportunity there, but you do not have to take him at the 210. I had somebody call me out, not call me out, but pointed out in the Discord, JB, you have Woody Marks really high. He's going undrafted in some leagues.
He is.
Another player later on, and I was on a guest spot, and I said, man, I'm not going to have any Trevor Etienne. If he's going in the draft, it's the end of the 4th.
Yes.
And that's another one. He could go into the season behind Chuba Hubbard as that running back too. He gives you a little bit more pop, especially in the passing game. Isn't a huge workload kind of guy, but he can still give you high value touches. So I am really liking these third and fourth rounds. So I mentioned Woody Marks. You talked about Kyle Williams, Jarquez Hunter, seemingly buried on the depth chart. I have him in that 301 to 307 tier. Snag him in the fourth. You don't need to snag him there. Dylan Sampson. I still like Dylan Sampson, but thinking about it more and more and more, I've brought him down a little bit. And then Brashard Smith, another one. Yes, he is a 7th round running back, but we know the Kansas City Chiefs don't necessarily care about draft capital. And he's another one that is going in the late 4th round. So if you have those late 3rd, early 4th round picks, and you're like, oh man, I really want to move up for a certain player. These Kyle Williams a little bit earlier, but all those running backs that I just mentioned, they're going to be there for the taking. So anything else to wrap it up? Kind of
just my last guy that when I'm at like the 411 and 412, he's there every time. Savion Williams. If you look at Savion Williams, not as a wide receiver, just call him a running back.
A weapon.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, he went in the 3rd round. I could kind of tuck myself into this. Let's go into the Packers. Trust that coaching staff. I think if you let him go on waivers, I think someone's going to bid quite a fair amount on it. So I would rather just get him late in the draft. I mean, I'm not selecting him at the 401, 402, but if I'm at the last pick, then I'll take him there.
We try to keep these episodes shorter. We literally could go for hours talking about this, as if we didn't spend enough time during the NFL draft itself talking for almost 20 hours over the course of 4 days. But if you want to talk about this more, jump in the Discord, use code THEORY over at ddfantasyfootball.com. The link is in the episode description below. Click the link whenever you're going to check out or however it works, enter code THEORY. Get in the Discord, get my cross-positional tiers. I spend a lot of time in there. I put a lot of effort into it. Pretty well received. I'll toot my own horn there. So jump in there. Let's talk through all the rookie stuff, because there's not enough time in the day to do it right here. And getting to have those conversations as opposed to just listening to me and Mitch ramble about God knows what. Yep. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick episode. We're going to be talking about rookies next week on the weekly episode of Dynasty Theory, because a lot of rookie drafts start next week. We're going to be talking about more rookie stuff on next week's episode of Trending Fantasy. But like I said, come check it out. Hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel. We surpassed 5,000 subs pretty much on Thursday, I think. And the channel's going strong. So we want to thank each and every one of you that tunes in pretty much for every single show that's put out. We got some real crazies in the DD community. It's fantastic. All right. For Mitch Sorensen, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch you next week.